Ryan Ham here, and I have got two Ruger Mark II pistols in front of you. And what I'm going to do here is do a quick review and troubleshooting on the extended release for Mark II made by Ranch Products, ranchproducts.com. And it's an extended release. It's cast stainless steel. I think they have a blued version also. And what it looks like on the bottom of the gun is it just extends a little bit further beyond the bottom of the magazine than the stock release, which I just dropped there, than the stock release would. And what that allows you to do is it allows you to place your thumb or finger or whatever on the release a lot easier. I mean, it doesn't take much effort at all for a normal man to do to release the magazine. One other feature of it is if you look at the bottom, you can see it's got a semicircular profile where it goes into the magazine versus the Ruger one, which is a straight profile going across. And what that does is that gives you a little bit of room when the magazine's coming out for the back of the magazine, which is not square, for the back of the magazine to ride along and move in that slot, and it doesn't drag on the magazine as much as the standard release would. Now, I thought this was a great product. When I was shooting with gloves, it was wonderful. I mean, it made it a lot easier to just push the magazine release and get the mag out. I did buy a second one. This was actually the first one I had right here. This is an older model, and I think it's the finish matches a little better, but it's still the same thing. And I thought it was great because when I pushed the magazine release back, it seemed like the mags would almost drop free. Now, change it. You see how the narrow end, hopefully you can see, the narrow end is impinging on the magazine release. So I'm going to go ahead and pull the pin and pull it out and show it to you so you could see what I mean. There's actually two pins, and both of these pins deal with hockey puck with a hole drilled through it. That's my bench block. Yeah, you can laugh at me, but I paid a lot less for mine. It was free than you paid for yours. So there's two pins. The bottom pin is the one you want to take out first and get that lined up to the hole. Okay, so once that's out, the magazine release will fly across the room. And this is why you always wear eye protection when you're doing this kind of stuff, especially when dealing with springs. And this little pin holds the spring in there, so I'm going to take that one out as well. It's a good idea if they're tight. If they are not tight, if they're loose and they seem to be falling out pretty easily, then you can stake the holes by you have to support it on the inside with something solid and center punch the edges of the holes to kind of roll the metal over there a little bit. I haven't ever had to do that, but that is one way of doing it. So again, I've had this gun wrong for years, and what it is when it's inside of the gun, this spring goes. Let me get that pin all the way out, and I'll demonstrate to you. So I'm going from the right side of the gun. And there we go. Okay, both pins. And you can see where it's kind of rubbed on there over the years because I use this gun a lot. I put thousands of rounds downrange a year with just this pistol. What can happen is this little leg here can impinge upon that spring there, and it won't let the release go all the way forward. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put it back together. And what you might be able to see, and I think it's pretty obvious, is that that spring will go in between the two legs here, and at the back of its travel, you might be able to see there's actually marks on this, and those marks are right there and right there where it strikes the pin. So it comes back here and it strikes the pin when it goes forward under spring pressure. And that's what it's supposed to do. So that's right. That's the correct function. It just goes in there and strikes the pin, and that limits how far forward the little catch can go. There we go. When it's grabbing the magazine, like so. Okay. Do we follow? Sorry, it's hard to get all this stuff in there. What can happen is, and I'll demonstrate, the spring itself can be pushed under that wing. Okay, I've got it there. It can be pushed underneath the wing, so the wing is striking the spring instead of the pin. And in that case, when I insert a magazine, everything seems to function fine. But the problem is that the magazine catch is not completely engaging the magazine base. And I could kind of, hope you can see well enough there. So, that the magazine catch is not fully engaging. There we go, get some daylight there. So what that could do, especially on the littler release where it doesn't have as much meat going forward with these two wings, what that can do is that it can cause your magazine to fall out or be retained by just a little bit. Now you can solve that problem. So that's what it looks like now. Pull it forward a little bit so you can see that I can do that. That very little bit actually engaging on the magazine, and the catch is all the way forward, but it's all the way forward against that spring. So I'm going to take the magazine out and put the spring back where it's supposed to be so you can see what it's supposed to look at, and then I'll show you the solution. Okay, move that little spring. Okay, that's in the right place. Put the magazine in again the correct way. It's hard to do around the camera. Okay, so there's your magazine catch, and I'm going to pull that all the way forward, and you can see even if I pull the magazine all the way forward that I can't get any daylight behind the magazine. So that's a good thing. That's the way it's supposed to be. So what I'm going to do again is I'm going to pull this apart. Try and do this on camera for you. If I fumble, I apologize. So pull that out, restrain the spring-loaded catch, and there you can see the little leg of the spring that's sticking down there. Okay, the pistols are back together, and I'll demonstrate really quick that the magazine releases work just fine, and I will kind of do a quick review. What I like, if you notice, the magazine goes in real easy. I don't have to try and push the magazine release out of the way like I did with the Ruger product. Just pull it back, it pops out. You know, just a little graze against it, it'll pop out. And the only negative about that could be, you know, if you accidentally rub it against the table, you see it popped out when I did that. But it shouldn't be too much of an issue on a range gun. You know, I doubt very many people are using the Ruger Mark II, Mark III, or even the Ruger standard model as defensive guns. So again, just pop the magazine catch back with your thumb. The magazine pops out and kind of pushes your thumb all the way over, and then you pull the magazine out. Very, very simple, very little effort required to do it, and that's nice. Enough to hold the magazine in. You also get a little more positive magazine engagement if you will. And I'll try and compare apples to apples, or the apples to oranges here. If you see, the amount of magazine engagement is slightly more because you've got these little wings coming out on the front. Well, that's all I have. I can get into other discussions, but I won't. The Ruger Mark II with a Ranch Products extended release, made from investment cast stainless steel, available from ranchproducts.com. I bought mine from Brownells. I bought both of them from Brownells at different times. Two things I've done to this gun other than what you've seen in the video. I kind of straightened out the slide release a little bit to make it a little bit easier to engage. And I've dehorned the receiver along here and the opening to the ejection port to make them less sharp. Real easy to do with some sandpaper of the correct grit that kind of matches the finish on Ruger's guns. And you shouldn't be able to notice too much of a difference there between the original finish and the finish I use. These are utility guns for me. They do look pretty, and they do shoot amazingly. I'm actually a lot worse shot than these guns are capable of demonstrating, so a better shot could certainly shoot better with these guns. Not always the case. Some guns are just so horribly inaccurate that doesn't matter how good the shooter is, that you're not going to be able to hit your target. Not in this case. I do have the original Black Eagle grips on that one, but I got some replacement Red Eagle grips for this one. I like the Red Eagle. Alexander Sturm has been dead a long time. I think we can go back to the Red Eagles on everything, and I think Ruger made the right decision with that. I like the logo a lot better. There you go. It's Round Ham. Once again, like, favorite, subscribe, share, comment, and if you want to suggest videos on guns that you've seen a little bit of but would like to see more, those kind of things, feel free, leave a comment in the comment section and I will see what I can do. Goodbye.